Hi, I'm Charlotte Donlin. I'm back with another installment of Behind the Scenes with The Great Belonging. I'm going through each chapter and giving a little bit of background information and backstory and some unsolicited writing advice here and there. So this video is for chapter 9. When our pets who bring us joy, I think is the name of it, as I'm trying to find it right now. So this chapter is obviously about how our pets help us feel less alone, and there are all kinds of studies and research that have proven this for people who struggle with loneliness and people who don't struggle with loneliness. So I start the chapter describing a Feast of St. Francis service that my daughter and I went to at a local Episcopal church a few years ago while I was writing the book. And then I transitioned into just a little bit of research, and then I write about our dog Happy that we had for about 5 years. We adopted Puppy and Happy when they were about 14 years old, and they had been living in a boarding area for a local vet, or at a local veterinarian's office. And when their original owner died, she was promised by her vet and some other people who were caring for her. She was mentally and physically disabled, and named the dogs Puppy and Happy. We kept the names, obviously, because they were 14 years old and that's who they were. But she was promised that they would never be separated, and no one adopted them. Like, they just kept living at this boarding area, and people would go and walk them and give them care and love and everything, but they were living outside at this boarding area, as I've said 4 times. And so I went to see them when I found out about them and took them for a walk. And then that afternoon I picked my kids up from school, and then we went back and took them for a walk. And then we brought them home for a test period, which when I brought them home, my husband was like, "This isn't a test, you're getting the dogs, aren't you?" So we kept the dogs, and then Puppy died about 3 months later during surgery for what we think was cancer. And it was super sad, mainly for Happy, because they had been together their whole lives, and had been like attached at the hip forever. And then when Puppy died, Happy became attached to my hip and was with me during my second episode of mania and depression, 2011, 2012, in that area. And then she died after we'd had her for about 5 years. So I write about Happy in this chapter with some other things, and I've gotten some really good feedback on this chapter. It's not really about faith that much. I mean, faith is woven into everything, of course, but I think people who aren't Christians have really enjoyed this chapter because it's something they can connect to and kind of understand like a deeper sense of belonging from this chapter and from other chapters that aren't like explicitly about faith. So that's a little bit of backstory for chapter 9, Our Pets Who Bring Us Joy, from The Great Belonging, How Loneliness Leads Us to Each Other. And I will say welcome to my new workspace, which is in my daughter's living room at her apartment. Long story of how I wound up here, but this is a different background than the other videos. And I consolidated my two of my websites into one website. So you can find more about me and all my writing and work at charlottedonlin.com, which is a website I've had forever. And then all of my spiritual direction stuff and podcasts and essays about writing and faith and art and faith can be found at ourfaithinwriting.com. And I'll put the link somewhere below this or whatever. It was just easier to consolidate all of that into one website. So you can find me at charlottedonlin.com, ourfaithinwriting.com, in my book, The Great Belonging, How Loneliness Leads Us to Each Other. In my spiritual direction offerings, I offer one-on-one spiritual direction for writers, and I do a 4-hour retreat a few times a month that's online. And you can sign up for my email newsletter if you want. I send 5 good things every Sunday, sometimes Monday. And that is charlottedonlan.substack.com. It's short and sweet. And thanks for watching the behind the scenes look at chapter 9 from The Great Belonging. I will see you next time.